while I do not have the formal musical education background that the guys do, I certainly have a number of years of experience working with children, certainly working with preschools. Working with 4 and 5s is just a whole little different animal than working with any other age group, because 4 and 5-year-olds, you can expect for them to have an attention span of approximately
I gotta go to the bathroom.
approximately 4 to 5 minutes, and we're lucky if we get that far into something before we get the I have a cat, you know, any of those kind of things. So with the 4 and 5-year-olds, it's all about repetition. Okay, they like to know that we're going to do the same exact thing. If I vary from course at all, I am informed very much that we did not do things in the correct order, because it has to be A, then B, then C, and if we do not do A, then B, then C, it has been a very unsuccessful day of praise, kids. We also really are just starting to teach conceptual, basic kind of things. Loud and quiet, okay? And we do a lot of different things with loud and quiet. We use our voices with loud. Let's look at the lion and let's sing like a lion with our loud voices. Let's look at the little kitten and sing with our soft voices. Let's get out musical instruments and do something loud. Let's listen. When we hear the loud music, we'll stand up. When we hear the quiet music, we'll sit down. So it's much more the concept kind of things, fast and slow, loud and quiet, things like that. My lesson planning is a little different than, like I said, than anybody else's, because again, we have we have snack from 4 till about 4:15, and then we have the actual group from about 4:15 till 5 o'clock. So my lesson plan is quite long compared to a lot of others, because again, I have to have about one activity for about every 4 to 5 minutes. We try to do a really nice balance between sitting circle activities, you know, learning new music, doing something quietly in a circle, versus getting up and doing some movement kind of activities. That becomes certainly more critical when we enter these wonderful winter months in Wisconsin, where the kids don't have a whole lot of outside time during the day. That's when our lesson plans tend to do much more of the physical activity, as we're hopping fast and then we're hopping slow, and we're hopping fast and we're hopping slow. So we do a whole lot more of those kind of things. One of the activities that we do frequently is one of the kids' favorite activities, honestly. And so this is one that frankly I was just keeping in my back pocket. So when we've gone through the 49 things in my lesson plan, and it's now 4:35, and I think, well, there we go. Those things didn't quite take as long as I thought they were going to. Then we pull out our sound and silence, because it's just one of the activities that the kids love, that they would do this activity every single week. And really all it is it's the ABC song, okay? So we all sing the ABC song, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Right? Because every 4-year-old, every 5-year-old knows that song. Okay? What do we do then to make it a little more challenging? Well, we hide some of the letters. Okay? This makes it much more challenging for the kids. They have to pay a little more attention. They have to look and see which letters are covered up. They have to actually watch the board. It also teaches them they need to follow the director. Okay? I need to not just be doing one of these things over here. I need to actually be looking up and seeing what's happening. I need to be following that person. I need to see what the instructions are. Okay? So when we make it tricky, we always cover up A and Z, because that makes it really tricky. Okay? And when we get really tricky, Miss Amy gets out a whole lot of Post-its and covers up really a whole lot of stuff, because then it's really tricky. Again, research has shown that when you challenge these kids, I don't know, this might be really too hard for you guys. Do you think you can do it? Then, of course, we want to rise to the challenge, because we want to show how great we are at 4 and 5, and that we can follow directions, and we can do these really hard things, and we're big kids, right? So, here we go. Let's do it again. A, B, D, E, G, H, I, K, L, M, O, P, Q, R, U, V, W, X, and Z. Okay. We go from there. This is a nice activity because it can take us you know, we can do this activity for 10 minutes. They will stay engaged in this activity for 10 minutes. We'll all stand up and we'll do it. And if you accidentally sing the C, Mr. John, you need to sit down. Okay, because you accidentally sung the C. Let's see who can stand up. Let's see who can actually do it. Then I'm going to change it up. I'm going to add more Post-it notes. We're going to do all kinds of things like that. One of the things we always do in 4 and 5-year-old, and oftentimes the 1st and 2nd graders will say, well, can we do that with them? We always sing the hello song. The hello song is hello. We sing hello, welcome to Praise Kids. It's also, we do it in multiple different languages. So it's hola, it's konnichiwa, it's ni hao, it's German, French, it's every language that I could come up with to see how we could sing hello. And the kids really like that. Many of these kids are starting to get foreign language in school. So they're starting to learn a little Spanish. Many of the kids come from German immersion school. They think that's really very fun. We always end our day, even if we've been up practicing in church, no matter what we've done, we always end our Praise Kids with doing the goodbye song. Okay? That's one too where we do a lot of activity. We do it loud, we do it quiet, we do it hopping, we do it frog style, we do it all kinds of stuff. So those are the things that we have to book in Praise Kids, 4 and 5-year-olds, with the hello song and the goodbye song. So, are there any particular questions about what we do in our group, or? Yes. 3, 4s, and 5s are really my favorite age. 14 is a really nice age for some people. 4 and 5 is sometimes more fun, but.
Yeah, we're honored to have some of our kids who are grown up now, who have been in our program. So, thanks, Amy, for sharing that. One of the questions that some of the ladies asked you this summer was, do you guys actually use a curriculum, or do you put this together yourself? How does that all happen? And so all of that is actually true. John and I actually do have degrees in the field. So one of the areas that I focused on in my college and graduate school program was music education. So we actually do have a lot of things pulled from music education philosophies, but because we are a church and because we focus on the spiritual part of that formation, there's a whole nother world out there that specifically addresses this. Just like Sunday school, you can go to Augsburg Fortress and buy a curriculum for Sunday school. A thing like that exists for children's choirs too. And I brought some stuff to show you guys where we pull this stuff from. This is a program called Sing and Celebrate. And that is actually a program that I work with in my job at Hal Leonard Corporation. One of the publishing companies that Hal Leonard publishes for is called Shawnee Press. And that is a church music publishing company that's been around for 100 years. And we have a children's music line of materials for the church. And this particular program is developed for early elementary age. So it's appropriate for K through 3rd grade, mostly focusing on K through 2nd grade. This book contains music for the church year, and the book is designed as a mini curriculum where teaching plans are included in the book. And so if you are a teacher and you're a person who scope and sequences lesson plans, all of that's done for you. So people around the country will buy this program. A lot of people that work with children in the church are volunteers, and they're not music education people. So, it's a difficult thing for them to know what to do. So this program is designed for those people who don't know how to do that. They can grab this book, follow a lesson plan, and have a lot of success with working with children. So we're really fortunate to be able to have my job here at St. Matthew's also sort of blend with my job at Hal Leonard in a portion of my day, and I really think that's a real gift for me to be able to do that, because I get to take home the values of that job and bring it here and trade my time and experience here with my job back at Hal Leonard. So another curriculum program that is out there is called Growing in Grace. This is a program that is produced by a publishing company in Georgia. This program is a graded program. The curriculum works for early childhood, early elementary, and older elementary. They also do a similar kind of approach where they produce music for the church year and provide lesson plans and that sort of thing. That ADC activity that Amy just showed you actually was an activity that came from this program. So it's an example of what you might see. Then those of you guys who saw the Praise Kids sing last Sunday, one of those songs that we sang was from that curriculum. So they really provide age-appropriate music, which is hard to find out there, for every age group. So we really take a value of that. The next thing I wanted to kind of give you guys, there's a real approach that what we do with teaching, and this is really a big part of the Sing and Celebrate program, is as educators know, children have 3 primary learning styles, which of course relate to us as adults: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. You can see up here kind of some facts about each of those groups, and you may recognize immediately which one you are more like, because we can learn from all ways, but you have one major way. I happen to be a visual learner, and I happen to be one of the greater population who learns visually more so. But in music, there are methodologies that actually focus on these different ways of learning. Kodai is an approach that's very oral, and we use it here in our church. You may have heard your kids at home use sign languages to learn to sing, where they may sing so, mi, do. They also use that in really good TOSA schools. I know that because a lot of our kids will come to church and they already know this. So it's a great approach for learning do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The kinesthetic approach is often considered in music to be a Dankwardt. These are actual people's last names. And the Dankwardt approach teaches children how to integrate music and the understanding of music through movement. So an example of that might be, as they learn to recognize meter, everybody recognizes that 3/4 is a waltz step, right? So as we will sing a song in 3/4, we may have the children move their bodies and actually 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It helps them begin to feel an actual, the way that the music feels, and then they can begin to incorporate how music feels and sounds through a moving approach. We wanted to also show some of the singing and the music goals that come with our age groups. These are things that we focus on in our teaching process. Amy kind of elaborated on some of that. But in preschool, we help them to recognize they have 4 voices: a singing voice, a speaking voice, a shouting voice, and a whispering voice. We do lots of games with that early on in the year because they need to find their singing voice right away. And a lot of children, when they're 4 and 5, are just beginning to recognize that. Some children are very natural at finding their singing voices and do it from the time they're born. So it's every child is individual, and we have to help them at their own levels. We begin to help them learn to match pitch. We learn about steady beat, and Amy mentioned a lot of these characteristics right here. So when children in Praise Kids move into my group, we're still with these points up here, but then we take on some new things. All of Amy and John's time is in a circle on the floor. When we come to Praise Kids in 1st and 2nd grade, we actually move them into a chair. And we have the age-appropriate small chair for a 1st and 2nd grader to sit in. We learn about how we sit in a chair when we sing. We learn about what we're supposed to do when we stand when we sing. We do a lot of engaging in singing conversations. Amy mentioned that they have a hello song. We have a hello song in 1st grade. We move from snack time upstairs to the upper room, and when we get to the door of our room, my kids stand in a row and I sing to them. And very often, it's just what I say to sing. Hello, John. Hello, Mr. Jeff. And when they do that, then they go in the room with Miss Sarah. They put a sticker on their name, they're here, and then they go find their place in their chair. And Amy mentioned that they sing in foreign language hellos. A lot of kids will say, sing to me in Spanish. And so we do that. We engage in being able to help them feel confident about singing in a very natural way. Because, you know, sometimes being a singer can be a scary thing. Wow, I'm doing this in front of people. But if you do that in a very natural way, they don't even realize, oh, this should be scary, or I should be self-aware. So that happens. Then spiritual formation. There are a lot of goals that happen, but these are very basic things. But we choose music that supports these goals because we want children to have a foundation of that. Of course, they're getting this also in Sunday school and in church, but these are all things we really want them to really have a foundation. And we carry this on into new creation. We can, of course, go to other levels with them because it's not such concrete thinking as it would be in Praise Kids, but these are definite goals that we go for. So let me just give you some examples of what we do in Praise Kids in 1st and 2nd grade. So, as I said earlier, we move to the board kind of work when we get into 1st and 2nd grade, and I actually start to use teaching charts. Amy has teaching charts that they are laminated, and they use them for learning words for songs, and mostly they're pictures, and I can show you an example of that. What I'm able to do with 1st and 2nd graders is then to take them to new levels of music. And one of those things is to learning which way notes move, up and down, stay the same. That's an elaboration of a high-low. So children obviously don't know how to read music right when they begin to learn music, so you take an iconic approach at learning how to do that. So obviously these green dots represent a melody that moves, stays the same, moves up and moves down. It goes back up and moves down again. So children have a visual way to understand that. But now I take the next approach, the Kodai approach, the singing approach, the oral approach, where I will say, or sing, so now they're able to take what they're seeing, and now they're going to hear that. And then I ask them, and you can do this with me, you can move your hand while I sing the notes, okay? So we're going to have, now we've incorporated that whole Dalcroze approach of moving. Now you will be amazed. I can show them this. I can lulu the melody and ask them to sing it back to me. We do lots of echo singing, just like what you did. And they'll have trouble finding these pitches. The minute I ask them to use their hand to help follow the melody and sing back to me the notes, they lock right in. It's just so bizarre to me that your body movement can help you do something musical. When I was growing up, I didn't do a lot of that music learning. But over the last 20 years, that's become a real strong approach in music education. And so we do it a lot. So, after we've learned that, the board allows me then to build some more charts. Now I'm going to start putting some words in under these iconic notes. Come, come, everybody worship. And they'll echo that back. So now we're starting to learn words, right? And for those who are still having some trouble learning with the reading part of it, and this is the part where Amy also has these, we use this approach where in the old days, these were called rebus charts. Are you familiar with that word? A lot of the people when I do a workshop who are really young have never even heard that word. But this is the approach where you are helping children learn to read by having pictures represent words as they start to learn the reading process. So we're using this picture to stand for worship. So this song goes, come, come, everybody worship with a prayer or song of praise. Come, come, everybody worship, worship God always. They love that. When we put the chart up at first, I may not even tell them any words. And from the context of the words that they can read, we'll guess what these words are. They love to be the sleuths and figure that out. So I think in this chart, yeah, I do have the real music. And at some point, often by Christmas time, I will actually start showing the music on the board, as in this case. Most children in 1st and 2nd grade are not reading this at all. And we actually want to start teaching them how do we follow words. This song has a lot more verses than typically we will sing, so this will be a challenge for them to learn, oh, I'm singing this top row, and I come down here, and I keep singing this top row. But typically we just have the one verse, and that's easy to follow. you will hear the children in preschool sing this song in a few weeks. So if you're happy to be there, you might want to just say, I know that song. Yeah. What else do I have to show you? Let's go here. So I mentioned to you the Kodai approach, the oral approach. So we introduced that in Praise Kids. Amy, do you do sometimes the So Me thing with your kids? Not so much?
We typically don't.
Okay. So by the time that they come to first grade, I start them right away at learning this approach. And this is teaching the do, re, mi thing from a very sequenced approach. The very first thing that they learn is this integral, so mi. And that is what looks like the wall of a house and moves to what looks like the floor of the house. So mi. And over the course of many weeks, we eventually get to this place where we learn do to do and the hand signs that go with that. And again, just like that Kodai, the Dankwart's approach of moving your hands up and down, being able to sing with your hands is an incredible, magical way of teaching children to sing and learn quickly and well. And Annette can testify to this because she's seen this for years and years. It's just the best way to learn how to sing. So we do that over the course of time. When the children come to third grade in New Creation, they've already been exposed to this for 2 years. And then when they get in third grade, our ability to teach music in New Creation using Kodai is a remarkable thing because a lot of them can just do it just like that. So that is an awesome thing we do.
However, we do a lot of time then on Sunday morning as we're preparing to sing in church, reminding the children that they don't have to be using
Yes.
those hand signs when they're standing up on the altar singing to the congregation.
And you will recognize that some of those kids will actually still do that. We had kids do that last week. We introduced rhythm in first and second grade. Again, this is an iconic approach of teaching children how to learn to recognize rhythm. We'll do this real quick. I'll have you echo me. Clown, 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 clown. Clown, 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 clown. In our next chart, we've added something, and we'll talk about that music have notes, and we all know that. And then notes have special parts. And this is what I want to introduce to you today. What does a flower have when you hold it? What are you holding? Stem. Just like a flower has a stem, music notes have stems. So will you say with me, clown, 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 clown. Clown, 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 clown. Now I want to change what we're calling this to some new thing. I want to call it ta. So will you echo me? Ta, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ta. Now, what is this called right here?
Brain.
Oh, a lot of people say brain. A lot of kids say brain. What holds your brain? Head. Music notes not only have stems, but they have heads too. Just like us. Ta, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ta. So now we have just introduced the ta, which is the quarter note, the basic steady beat unit in music, just like that. Now, we go right ahead and start teaching them some other rhythms where I say ta, or clown, clown, funny clown. Yes, so we introduce what that looks like. These are eighth notes, but we're going to call them something else. We're going to call them T-T, ta, ta, T-T, ta. Then we're over here, we put the heads on. And children, mostly in first and second grade, are coming from schools where in their music education programs, they're learning this. So we don't really ever have problems teaching this approach. And my kids, these move around. I can move this.
You're on the.
What's that?
Your tool's wrong.
Oh yeah, wrong tool. These can move around, and we can build rhythms with these and make long rhythms. They love to come up and make their own rhythm.
I bet they do.
And yeah, because it's the cool way to do, right? And we more towards the end of the spring semester, I'll introduce the half note and the quarter note. Again, a lot of those kids will recognize them because also a lot of children in first and second grade are taking piano lessons. So they will have that down too.
So in the 4 and 5-year-olds, we're starting the same concept. We're typically using much more salient things. Pie, apple, pie.
Yes.
Just like Jeff started with the clown, funny clown. Heart, beating, heart. So we're starting that. Getting that concept, so he's building on that as they're getting older.
Those iconic notations that take it from that to the real stuff. So let's move on now and talk some more about what happens when they leave Praise Kids and come to New Creation Time, when they're in 3rd grade, 3rd through 6th grade. So these are some very important goals that we have with New Creation. One, we of course have been doing these 2 things in New Creation. But these things right here become stressors for us in New Creation because they are now singing in worship. They're becoming real worship leaders. They're sitting in the choir loft for a whole service once a month. They're singing an anthem for church. And they're singing from the hymn book. And they're doing everything that we would be doing if we were sitting in church itself. So we want them to understand, first and foremost, that that's an important job. They're just like one of our pastors, standing in front of the church, leading us in corporate worship. And they have a job to help us do that. Now, you may look up there and see Heidi and myself helping our first row of 3rd graders who this is a new experience, and they have 500 things to have to deal with the hymn book, an order of worship. Sometimes there's another piece of paper, and they're finagling all of that stuff. That's hard to do when you're in 3rd grade, right? But we're happy that we at St. Matthew's and the people of this church really support that kind of learning because that's what makes them grow into the great worship leaders themselves as adults. So we talk about those responsibilities. We really focus in our choir time to start to recognize what their personal gifts are. Some of our kids that stay in the music program will say, I'm not a great singer. And we're like, you're a great singer because you're part of this experience. But they may not really be confident singers, and we work to help them be that way. But that doesn't necessarily mean they will be that. But often those people may be really strong actors. They may have really great appearance when they're out speaking, and so we will focus on that. So you guys also know in the spring we do a musical every year. We try and really make every child to be in a role that makes them feel confident, that helps them have a positive and successful experience. So we try to find what that is with every child. We help to try to build confidence, to share their traits with others, and to recognize that as a person who's involved in this experience, we do this for our church, we do this for the people who come, but first and foremost, we're giving our gifts to God. God gave us these gifts, and we're giving them back as an offering to God to show our gratitude and to help be grateful for what God gave us. So that's where we are with that. Do you want to step in here and talk about our incentives?
Oh,
what we've got
incentives.
going
I can
here?
do
You know all of these things here. Lead us on.
Well, as education has changed over time since you were probably in school, and let's see, discipline styles, or if they even exist anymore, I don't even know in schools. I mean, I grew up going to Catholic grade school, so I had some nuns who yelled at me. So I know about mean nuns. Never got the ruler on the finger, on the knuckles though. But where we don't want to reward kids for doing a good job or take away awards for doing a bad job, but that does seem to be the culture of what school is and what we hear and parenting too. So we try to balance it all out. So to help with behavior problems, our cross-section is kids from all different schools, not just TOSA, of course. So we do offer an incentive program, and that if they're good, they get a little mark, right? And this year, our kids all have a number, and they're star singers. And you can see star singers are worship leaders and have fun and make beautiful music and have good posture. Are we going to do the posture chart?
Yes.
Okay. and listen, and those other words I can't read because I have my glasses on, open mouths and pronounce words. So what we do is all of these things that we have talked about, we look for in our kids. And Miss Heidi or Miss Amy may say, Miss Dara, I get them mixed up. They all look
We're
alike.
kind of the same.
I could just call it Michelle.
Michelle. Look for these traits in our kids, and so some kids like doing it, we'll mark them down. Last year they all knew which envelope they had, and this year they're all assigned numbers, but they have no clue what number they are, and they hate it. They're like, what? And you can walk over there and put a little star in number 23, and you have no clue who's getting, who is that is. And then at the end of the semester they get the stars, and they can turn it in for a pencil or a balloon or
Yeah, they'll receive a
a
reward
reward.
for what they're. Last year, you may have heard some of the kids talk about, we had a store, and we had envelopes hanging up there with their names, and they received coupons for things that they were doing well. And there were 3 times in the semester when they could go to the store. And so we had a table, like that table, where there were boxes of mini balls, little wristbands, candy, pencils, that kind of stuff. And they basically, used their coupons to purchase whatever they wanted. So they like that stuff.
Yeah, and those of you parents, I'm sure you do things as well in your own house
Motivation.
to get them to take out the garbage.
Right.
Right? Yeah,
We call that positive reinforcement in my mind.
Not these two. They're perfect, I'm sure.
They're perfect. They always listen
Yeah.
to somebody.
We can take it down.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to toss your page?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I want to volunteer.
There you go.
Dolly volunteered. So, I think what you're getting, I wanted to say, go off the beaten path a little bit. With those of you that remember Sue Erickson here and developing the program from the get-go with Sue and Gary about this graded children's music program. And when I first came here some years ago, it was new to me. I went in this organ. I'm an organist, and then all of a sudden this graded children's program, and I learned so much from her. It's, as I think you are now aware of, we just don't get together and sing songs. It's not just, okay, here's our song, we're just going to learn it rote. There's so much depth into it. And the reason for that depth is because we want singers to sing in church their whole life, from beginning to end. And it's important to keep that going, so that when they get out of high school, that's the point where we lose the kids. They're off to college. Maybe some of them will sing in college, and maybe they'll come back and eventually join the choir. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is we want to train, we want to help. I don't believe, and that my philosophy is, every choir should not just be stagnant and just get together to sing songs. We always should be learning and trying to get better and grow in our talents. God gave us the talents, the story of the talents. What did you do with your talents? Well, I buried them in the ground just to be safe. You fool! You have these talents. Use the talents, develop your talents, and that is what we strive for always. So whenever that doesn't happen, that upsets me. One of the talents we have is how to stand and how to sit properly. So who would like to volunteer? Oh, lady in the front row?
Yeah.
It just makes it easy.
Lady Beth.
No, I forgot how to
throw
serve.
it? I'm just kidding.
You just throw it. So we want to see, we actually talk about this. What you're going to do is you're going to, row. I think that's the right thing.
Yes, that's
And so just like erase her.
Just erase it.
Oh,
Full body?
Yeah, you can keep on.
skeleton.
It's perfect for Halloween.
Happy
So,
Halloween, all.
Exactly.
so you can do the gentleman right here too.
You ever
Yes.
seen a skeleton?
Have you seen Bones?
I've seen bones.
You can do the next one too. Again, it's an interactive. The kids love it, right? So we talk about what is the proper way to sit, even in choir. So you're all sitting in number 1 position because you're all relaxed. Number 2 position would be on the edge of your seat, right? Like up, back, back is your back is against. Number 0 is anything you want. They love that one. Number 3 is of course standing up, and my favorite is number 2.5. Not sure. Now you wouldn't. I mean, you think it's this seems kind of silly. Oh man, they just love it. Now we also talk about bad posture standing. And Beth, did you wanna?
Do you want me to erase them?
You erase it? No, depends. I don't know what you're gonna erase.
Should I read?
So this is not X-rated,
Yeah.
just so you know. So it just shows. It's just fun. It's just an activity. So.
This is my kind of posture.
Is that your posture? At the end of the day? Good reminders. So it's just kind of fun.
It's good.
Yay! And what's fun in choir is all you have to do is who, and the hands all go up. Who wants to be the next person?
And so part of those singing skills that we're teaching, we do a lot of warm-up activity too. This is an activity where we're able to do different things that happen in a chart. This board has so many cool things that also happen that you can create these charts where these things can come and go. So the child, we'll let them choose what they want to do. Come up and touch the things that they want on and off, basically. So this is an example of doing a lot of different vocal sounds that help children start to focus to sing in their head, which is a primary goal of singing with trebles singers. Another really important part, we're going to let John do this because we've got to run because some of our kids are singing in church in a minute and reading, is another program that we started several years ago called the New Creation Hymnal Program. And one of the goals with this is we want to put hymnody in the hands of children. So John, why don't you talk about this is
And you're going to go
current
warm
one.
up the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just check them through. Thanks,
Okay.
Mr. Jeff.
Thanks, you guys.
Take
Yeah,
the
that'll work.
troublemakers in the front row.
Yeah. Go ring your bells. So what is really cool about our hymnal program, Dolly? We have the senior choir and the adult music leaders of church buy a hymnal for a child. So well, we'll get to that actually. So we talk about looking at pictures. We look at all these old choirs, and I said, well, what do all these pictures have in common? And they're all holding a book, right? I said, well, what do these pictures don't have? What are they missing, especially that one? And all the girls say, there's no girls in it. Well, there's one of them. We even talk about young and old hymnals. Let's see what else. Oh, what's missing from this picture is a person. And then what's missing from this picture is their hymnals. So we go through and let's see, what's this one? New Creation Hymnals. So in the book plate of every hymnal that the choir has, the kids have, it's presented to with their name and it's who it's donated by. So there's an actual connection. For example, Ned and Myron Olson have donated hymnals. So a child will have in the New Creation Choir their hymnal for the 4 years that they're in choir with Myron and Annette Olson's hymnal that they gave to the kid, and then they use it in worship every Sunday. And then as we progress, they get stickers to see how many years they're in choir, a little sticker incentive. And then finally, the 6th grade, they get a little bonus gift of the ribbon kind of page markers, bookmark kind of thing going on. And it's just really something. So we talk about, let's see, what is a hymnal? A lot of kids, and this is basic stuff that we know. Anyone know what a hymnal is? Answer? Pardon? Hymns, and what else? Services, exactly. They always has two, I don't have that here on this chart. But it has worship stuff, worship services that we use, and also the music. So then we always have them sing the Kyrie in worship from our hymnal when they sing in worship. So we talk about the original, some history of where the Kyrie came from, and I always ask them what language this is. Anybody? Nope. Greek. They love it, and especially they know it when the Greek people know it because they're like, "It's Greek, it's Greek." They're so proud of themselves. But those are the 6th graders who've done it for a few years. This is the only thing that's Greek. It's the Kyrie eleison is Greek. Everything else kind of churchy is Latin, just so you know. So there we go. So we look at it, and hello, there we go, and we just work on it. And then we have them do a little game where they have to find parts of the hymnal, just to get really familiar with it, because it's a big book, right? We have to. Why do we just assume that they just know what to do, right? So we work on that. And I guess I'm just going to wrap it up with what I said before is the ministry of children's music here at St. Matthew's is not just, we just don't get together and sing songs. We work on the holistic approach, and in one of your handouts it talks about the, I can't think of the words, the multiple intelligences. And we look at that chart, and probably as parents too, you think, where does your kid fit in? Or where did your kid fit in, and where we write, and how does that all work? So this is really important to us, and even in our ministry here, when we just get the kids for like an hour a week, that's a short amount of time. So we try to pack as much as we can into it. And of course, the other side of that is, how does the choir help me? And all of these reasons tie into those multiple intelligences and the spirituality as well. So do you have any questions or thoughts? Trudy?
Well, first of all, I'm relatively new to this congregation, and I was so impressed with the choirs, and now I begin to understand why the kids do so very well. I had no idea that there was this whole program that they go through. It's really wonderful. But the question I have is, it seems strange to me for the congregation to applaud after they have sung.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's something you encourage, or you would just assume we didn't do that.
Well, if you don't hear applause, that means you did a bad job, right? I know. We have endless discussion about that. Praise kids applause just seems right because they're cute and you're supporting them, and the kids are like, clap. They don't understand the concept of completely that we're doing this for God's glory, so you don't need applause. As we get older, we do talk about that. Certainly a new creation choir is going, we don't expect applause. If it happens, so we as a church, there's multiple levels for this. This is not we as a church do not support applause in worship for doing, oh, you sang a great job, yay! We don't do that. But if it happens because it's spontaneous, make it so. Let it be. That is great. But we do know that there's churches after every time something happens, they clap, and then you're thanking the performer, not what the offering is. So there's it's a concept that you have to wrap your head around. And as children, it's black and white sometimes. So that gray area comes eventually. So that's kind of a gray answer to your question.
We also do notice that it tends to be more, the smaller the children, the more apt there is to be applause. And then as the kids grow older, again, because it also depends on where they're standing. Our kids stand up, in front of the church, and then they get done, and then we have to find parents, and we have to figure out who's standing up there shell-shocked, looking at the entire congregation. It also gives that little bit of that time, so frequently there will be applause, whereas the older kids are over in the choir loft. So they sing, they sit down, we move on with the rest of church, and there's not that segue.
As they get older, you start to treat them more like an adult choir.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. And when we start them at 4, again, as Jeff and John have been talking about, it's just every year it's another layer of what we have started with the basics at 4 and 5. Then they get that next layer in 1st and 2nd grade, and that next layer in 3rd grade, and that next layer, and hopefully we're keeping some of these kids even through high school.
We applaud the 4-year-olds when they just walk up and stand there.
Yes.
Yeah, great job, you just stand there. It's really good. That's a 15 minutes.
Well, and it's a hard thing as they're standing up there and we're still waiting for this much of the, okay, Chris, could you talk a little faster?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. What percentage of the kids in church participate in that?
Oh, gosh. Well, this year we have about 35 in Praise Kids.
Well, and it's a little difficult question because not all of our kids who are in our Praise Kids go to St. Matthew's.
Right.
We actually have, we actually, because of our wonderful VBS program, we actually have a lot of kids who join the church, or families that join the church because they've come to VBS, but otherwise families who have brought their children to VBS and then they hear about our choirs, or they're neighbors with people whose kids are involved in the choirs and they say, oh gee, you should come, and St. Matthew's has this great music program, you should come. So it's a little bit of a hard thing to tell you exactly what the numbers are, because again, a lot of our kids are not St. Matthew's members.
And things have so changed in the world. The Sunday morning soccer games and swimming meets have just devastated part of our program, and it just, there's so many activities, and, you know, just in the bigger picture, church is no longer this, okay, we go to church and then pick what else we do. Church is just another thing that we pick. Are we going to do church, or are we going to do soccer or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts? I mean, and there's no fault, it's just the reality is. So it gets harder and harder to, you know, have, because we're volunteer, we have got nothing. They just, you want to come and sing? Yay! Just, you know, there's no grades, there's no like, you have to do this.
As the years progress, we see fewer and fewer boys involved. And that's,
Yeah, and again, you know, so a lot of that goes to a lot of things. A lot of that goes to America. Okay, you know what? The girls were really going to encourage to be involved in the arts and whatnot, and we need to all do a better job. I will tell you right now, in my Praise Kids group, we have 20, I don't know how many kids, 22 kids. I have 3 girls.
Yeah, they're all boys.
3 girls. The rest of them are boys.
Now,
Okay, yes.
in New Creation
Yes.
Choir, there was a time
Which
when
always
we couldn't
makes
get
it
boys.
really a little bit more of a challenge.
Annette must remember when we like had 1 or 2 boys.
Yeah.
And then the one year, I mean, it's half boys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you never know.
you just never know, but it's hard. You know.
I have to make a comment, and this is very emotional for me, but I think it's important. After Sue died, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but there was a concert that was done by two of our St. Matthew's young women who were college students at the time, with some friends of theirs. I will never, ever, ever forget the dedication on their program, because it was to Sue. And they were college students who were studying music, and it was their tribute to Sue that they did that concert.
And that's all. And again, that's always our role.
I think that you can multiply that by I don't know how many hundreds of kids who have been touched by the music program here in the church, who have done wonderful things with music as a result of the beginning that they got here.
Thank you all. My prelude is supposed to start in 2 minutes. Thanks for all coming. If if you know anyone, you have any questions, feel free to ask us sometimes. You know, we're just always here to do what we do. Thanks, Debbie.